Call to order, City of Forest Park Council Meeting number 1331, March 4, 2019. Let us stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Here.
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 Let the record show that all members are present. Item 2 is the minutes. You should have all received a copy of the minutes in your packet. Are there any questions, any corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, then the minutes will stand approved as presented. Number 3 is presentations. We have no presentations. At this point, we attend Councilwoman Herbie for a motion.
I would move to amend the agenda and take up at this time item C under new business, motion to convene to executive session.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we amend the agenda and take up item C on the new business. The motion is to convene in an executive session. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk call the roll on the motion?
Yes.
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 Yes. I say yes.
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 The motion to convene into executive session passes 7-0.
No.
Sorry.
The motion to amend.
The motion to amend the agenda passes 7-0. So at this point, we would have another motion. Councilwoman Holt.
I would like to make a motion to convene to an executive session to discuss personnel matters regarding the review and consideration of city manager candidate.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we convene into executive session to discuss personnel matters regarding the review and consideration of city manager candidate. Is there any discussion?
None, thank you.
Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Yes.
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 The motion to convene into executive session passes 7-0. At this time, we will go into executive session, a short executive session. No official business will be taken during that session, and we will return shortly to resume the meeting. We are now to executive session.
Executive session and reconvene into the regular council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn the executive session and reconvene into the regular council meeting. Is there any discussion?
None, thank you.
Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to adjourn the executive session and reconvene into the regular meeting, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then we're now back into the regular council meeting. Is there a motion, Councilwoman Herbie?
Yes, I would move to amend the agenda and add as item D under new business and take this up at this time, resolution number 09-2019.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we amend the agenda and add as item D on the new business and take up at this time resolution number 09-2019. There's no other discussion. Would the clerk please call the roll on the motion to amend?
Herbie,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes?
Moore,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
The motion to amend the agenda passes. At this point, we will take up item D, resolution number 09-2019. Will the clerk please read this motion in full?
Resolution number 09-2019. A resolution to appoint Mr. Donnie R. Jones as city manager of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, and authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with appointed city manager Donnie R. Jones on behalf of the City of Forest Park, Ohio. Whereas due to the scheduled March 31st, 2019 retirement of the current city manager and the vacancy that it will leave, it necessitates the selection of a new city manager and the initiation of a smooth transitioning process. And whereas the position of city manager was advertised internally and externally to solicit the widest range of qualified applicants, and whereas the candidate pool was narrowed and final candidates were interviewed by the full council body, and whereas after detailed interviews and considerable deliberation, the City Council recommends the appointment of Mr. Donnie R. Jones as the new city manager. And whereas Mr. Jones brings a distinguished career in local government and private sector work, Mr. Jones has a bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of Cincinnati and is a licensed certified public accountant. His private sector work has included operating his own accounting firm from 1986 through 1997 and serving as vice president and manager of institutional trusts for the Provident Bank from 1997 through 2005. His local government work includes city auditor, chief financial officer of City of Norwood, Ohio, from 1988 to 2007, city treasurer, City of Orlando, Florida, from 2006 through 2008, and assistant city manager, City of Huber Heights, Ohio, from 2008 to present. And whereas it is the desire of the City Council as the legislative and governing board of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, to set forth its benefits, establish certain conditions of employment, and to set working conditions of said Donnie R. Jones. And whereas it is the desire of the City of Forest Park to, 1, secure and retain the services of Donnie R. Jones and to provide inducement for him to remain in such employment. 2, to make possible full work productivity by assuring good moral and peace of mind with respect to future security. 3, to provide reasonable assurances and stability of its workforce. And 4, to provide a just means of terminating said services if necessary. And whereas Donnie R. Jones desires to accept employment as city manager of the City of Forest Park, now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, Section 1, that the Council of the City of Forest Park hereby appoints Mr. Donnie R. Jones as city manager effective April 1st, 2019. Section 2, that the mayor of the City of Forest Park be and is hereby authorized and directed to execute an employment agreement with Donnie R. Jones for his services as city manager for the City of Forest Park, a copy of which is attached hereto as Exhibit A, incorporated by reference thereto, and made a part of this resolution. Section 3, this resolution shall be in full force and take effect upon its passage.
Is there a motion, Councilwoman Hope?
I make a motion to accept resolution number 09-2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 09-2019. Is there any discussion?
Being read in full, it should be self-explanatory.
Mr. Barnes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to congratulate the council for executing this, to getting us to this point. It's important to understand that I think it was in October of last year where we started this process, and here we are today, actually about to execute the appointment of a new city manager. It takes a lot of work, collaboration, and agreement, give and take on everyone's part, and you should be recognized for that. And I would also congratulate the current city manager and thank him for his extended stay. He's been with Forest Park quite a long time, and we all know that. Many of the candidates recognize that, and they know, and I know Mr. Jones feels this way. There's a lot of big shoes to fill. So thank you for your service again, and your continued service. So now here we are with a great candidate, with a great background, and I'm looking forward to working with Mr. Jones as well. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I would just briefly add that I would also like to extend the council's appreciation and thanks to our Human Resources Director, Andy, and our City Attorney, Mr. Wyckoff, and of course Sally, as always, for their assistance in this process, along with other staff members who gave input and or time, and I cannot forget the clerical staff who was always there to provide refreshments, food, whatever else was necessary when needed, making all of the arrangements. I think sometimes it's easy to forget that we are not a permanent, full-time paid council, so we have to rely on the staff to prepare things for us to do, and it makes us look good on paper and outside because everybody thinks we did all that work, but the reality of it is 90% of it is done for us in advance, and I want to never forget that they play an integral part, not only our staff, our paid staff, but our volunteers as well. So that being said, is there anybody else who has a brief comment before we vote? Brief.
Two council members should be noted, particularly in this process, and that is the head of our Human Resources Committee, Denise Holt, and also Wendell Burns, who spearheaded
And Chelsea.
and Chelsea, that's true, who spearheaded this in the last several months, and so they should be noted for that. Also, I want to also thank Ray, too, for going above and beyond to stay with us through this whole process, and thank you so much. I know that was not what you intended, so. And also to congratulate Mr. Jones, too.
Any other discussions? Thank you all, and I want to thank my fellow council members for working tirelessly, persevering, and as she said, an added thanks to Mr. Burns, Ms. Nuss, and Ms. Hope, who, as Chair of Human Resources, led us through this process. I don't know that we could have gotten this all done without the work that they did. Hearing no other comments or questions, would the clerk please call the roll on Resolution 09-2019?
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Herbie.
Yes.
Let the record show that the resolution passes 7-0. At this point, we would do the oath of office. Mr. Jones, if you would come forward, please. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
If you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Donnie Jones,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
the Charter
the Charter
of the Municipality
of the Municipality
of Forest Park, Ohio,
Forest Park, Ohio,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge
discharge
the duties as
the duties as
City Manager.
City Manager.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, okay. Well, thank you all. I'll check on my little notes here. I did make some notes just to make sure that I didn't forget some things, and I don't want to go too long because I do have a history of doing that. But I do want to thank Mayor Johnson and the rest of the city council members for giving me this opportunity to serve your city. And I want to thank Ray for his extended stay and for his service to the community as a whole. It's going to be some big shoes to fill, and I hope I can, and I think we will. So also thank you very much for offering to stick around during the transition as well, to give me your advice and your knowledge, and that just shows the kind of public service that that this community, I believe, has had for several years. I want to thank the department heads. Some of them are here, but I spoke with all of them during the interview process, and found them to be very knowledgeable and very good at what they do, and I look forward to working with each and every one of them. I believe this is a great community, and I think there's lots of things that we can get done. And I'll go out with what everybody says, the create a community to live, work, and play, but I think it's most important, and I'll add a little bit to it, I think it's something that really hits home here, is that we want to have stay. We need to build from within, keep our people here, and make this a place where people that go to school here and are raised here want to stay here. So hopefully we can get that going. I look forward to work with every one of you, and can't wait to get started. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, is there any comments from anyone from council? Ms. Nuss?
Just want to say the interviewing process was really enlightening, and we appreciate the engagement and consideration you've had for our department heads and our staff here that work very tirelessly under a lot of different conditions to make it look like we have probably double the amount of team with how we run, and we really don't. So that means a lot to me, and we are excited to have you here. And I like the vision, which was extraordinarily attractive, because we are at a time of somewhat of a challenge, and so to help navigate those waters, I couldn't think of anybody better to help lead us in that process. So welcome, and we are looking forward to working with you.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to say welcome aboard, and I look forward to working with you.
Anyone else?
So now I can call you Donnie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Donnie, thank you for accepting this opportunity. I think it's important to the point that you made earlier, getting a good transition. You've met the staff, you know Ray. I think you've actually known some of the staff members for years. So this is, I think, a good fit. Not only your impressive credentials, but just a good fit. So thank you for coming, and we look forward to great things from you in the coming years and weeks and months and days. So thank you again.
Okay. At this time, we would move to item number 4, communication from the public, but as is our practice, this is a time also when we usually lose our audience. Don't feel, folk, like you have to stay. You can, of course, if you're welcome to, but if you need to leave, feel free to do so. We now move to item number 4, communication from the public. This is a time for citizens to comment on matters before council or to ask questions of concern to them. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and then state your comments or questions. Council meetings are tape recorded for ease of transcriptions. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the council? Hearing none, we'll move to item number 5, reports of standing committees. First of these is Public Safety, Councilwoman Nuss.
I don't have a report at this time. Just wanted to make everyone aware that the Severe Weather Awareness Week is March 17th through the 23rd, and there will be a statewide tornado drill on March 20th at 9:50. So when you hear those blaring sounds, Armageddon is not upon us, but it's simply a drill.
Okay, any questions for Councilwoman Nuss? Hearing none, Councilwoman Nuss, for the work session of the 11th, I have one item on the agenda, Community Programming Board, Regional Council of Governors. Do you have anything to add?
I do not.
Thank you. Next committee report, Ways and Means Committee, Councilwoman Herbie.
I have no report today.
Any questions for Councilwoman Herbie? Hearing none, Councilwoman Herbie, I have one item on the agenda for you for the work session, reimbursement legislation. Do you have anything to add?
No, sir.
Next committee report is Community Development Committee, Mr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report.
Any questions for Mr. Burns? Mr. Burns, I have a report, one item for you is CRA Housing Council. Do you have any others to add?
No, I do not.
Thank you. Next committee is Law Committee, Councilwoman Collins.
I have no report from the Law Committee at this time. However, I am available to answer questions.
Any questions for Councilwoman Collins? Hearing none, Councilwoman Collins, there are 2 items on the agenda. Liquor license request, Forest Park Spring Hill SSA LLC, and reconsideration of a $25 park shelter fee. Do you have anything to add?
No, I do not.
Next committee report, Human Resources, Councilwoman Holt.
I would just like to say, as the chair of the Human Resource Committee, I would like to welcome our new city manager and look forward to working with you. Welcome to Forest Park. That will conclude my HR.
Any questions for Councilwoman Holt? Hearing none, Councilwoman Holt, there are 2 items that I have on the agenda for you for the work session. One is reappointment of Fenric Clark, Environmental Awareness Board. The second one is the resignation of Jessica Miranda from Economic Development. Do you have any to add?
I do not, thank you.
Next committee is Public Improvement and Facilities, Councilwoman Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do not have a report at this time.
Any questions for Councilwoman Moore? Hearing none, Councilwoman Moore, I have 1 item on the agenda for you, the 2019 street program. Do you have any to add?
No, I do not.
Next report is Intergovernmental Relations and Communications. That's my committee. I have no report. I'll answer any questions if there are any. We'll move to item number 6, the mayor's report. And again, I have no report, but I'll answer any questions if there are any. Mr. Burns.
I don't have a question, Mr. Mayor. However, I would like to add something to the work session agenda,
Okay.
specifically early morning patrols on the Waycross, and I can go into the motivation if you need me to. I'd like to have the police present for that conversation.
Why don't you give your information to Mr. Hodges, and he can relay it to the chief, and they will have somebody here for that.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item on the agenda then would be item number 7, the city manager's report. Mr. Hodges.
Thank you. First, I'll report that all the departmental reports have been completed. They've been included in the council packet. They've also been placed on file with the clerk of council for public inspection. I'll also report that we have completed the annual report for 2018, and that is also available to the public. I'll report that we will issue the next issue of the Progress newsletter tomorrow, and it will include the announcement of the new city manager. And with that, I want to certainly welcome and congratulate Donnie Jones for his appointment. He does have some very impressive credentials to the extent that I don't believe he'll need any assistance from me to do an outstanding job, but I will be available to him as he makes his transition. So just as a matter of record, I want to personally congratulate you and wish you the best on your career here in Forest Park. So that would conclude my report, but I would respond to any questions if there are any.
Any questions for Mr. Hodges? Hearing none, thank you, sir. Move to item number 8, other reports. First of those being the law director, Mr. Wyckoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Briefly, I'll just report that I've been working with the police department on another public records request and also in recouping some monies owed to the city of Forest Park based upon one of our disposal of weapons granted by the Hamilton County Common Police Court to a certain gun dealer in town who then decided to go out of business without paying us. And so we're in the process of collecting what is due to us. Other than that, I have nothing else to report, but before Mr. Hodges leaves, I would like to ask him on this lawsuit that was just recently filed, and we received notice of it March 1st. Has the Highland Group reached out yet regarding their defense?
They haven't responded yet, but I believe they'll probably respond within a short period of time. So if there's any reason to be concerned, I'll certainly advise you, but at this point, it looks like a fairly routine lawsuit, as routine as a lawsuit can be, in terms of us being able to address it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure that if they don't reach out in a short time, I am available to expedite it. I read the lawsuit. I see no merit in it, as an aside.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Wyckoff? Hearing none, we'll move to item B, Clerk of Council, Mrs. Dirksen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to report that ordinance numbers 06-2019 and 07-2019, and resolution numbers 05-2019 and 06-2019 were posted as required. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for Clerk of Council? Hearing none, thank you, Ms. Dirksen. We move to item number 9, new business. First item is item A, resolution 07-2019. That resolution need to be read in full.
Resolution number 07-2019, a resolution authorizing and directing the city manager to negotiate and execute insurance coverage with the Ohio Plan for insurance that includes but is not limited to property, casualty, and liability. Whereas it is desirable to purchase insurance coverage for areas of city services, and whereas the city administration has contracted with the Highland Group Cincinnati under a professional services agreement to solicit and review proposals for various insurance that includes but is not limited to property, building and contents, electric data processing, contractors, equipment, general floater, fire department, commercial general liability, Ohio employers liability, automobile liability, and physical damage, crime, employee dishonesty, law enforcement liability, public officials liability, EMS fire department errors and omissions, excess liability, and related insurance. And whereas the city administration, in conjunction with the Highland Group Cincinnati, issued an official request for proposal, RFP, on 1/13/2019, with a deadline to submit by Wednesday, February 20th, 2019 at 2 p.m. This RFP was formally advertised on the city's website in the Cincinnati Enquirer and Cincinnati.com. And whereas Highland Group Cincinnati and the city administration received and evaluated proposals from Liberty Mutual and the Ohio Plan, and whereas Highland Group Cincinnati Consults and the city administration agree that the proposal submitted by the Ohio Plan is the best and most competitive and meets the city's specifications and requirements. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio. Section 1, that the proposal from Liberty Mutual and of the Ohio Plan were competitive, and that after considerable review and deliberation of the proposals, it was determined that the current needs of the security of the City of Forest Park could best be met with the insurance coverage as listed in the proposal submitted by the Ohio Plan. Section 2, that the city manager is hereby authorized and directed to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Plan for the provision of insurance coverage for a total fee of approximately $95,342 annually. The city manager is hereby further authorized to modify or add additional insurance coverage within the amount council has appropriated or otherwise made available through the other line items for insurance purposes in order to maintain and protect the insurable interests of the city of Forest Park, its property, employees, and agents. Section 3, this resolution shall be in full force and effect on its passage.
The motion, Councilwoman Herbie.
I would move adoption of resolution number 07-2019, sorry.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 07-2019. Is there any discussion?
I did want to address just 2 or 3 things. One, the amount listed in here, the $95,342, could change slightly depending on whether we change things in the policy like deductibles or limits in areas. And also, it could change because there may be changes to things covered, such as we may change the vehicles in our fleets, things like that. And the other thing is, I also wanted to note that the Ohio plan, we have a history with them of almost 25 years, so I would urge adoption of this resolution.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Johnson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Herbie,
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Resolution 07-2019 passes 7-0. Next item is item B, resolution number 08-2019. Would the clerk please read this resolution in full?
Resolution number 08-2019. A resolution supporting the submission of a Clean Ohio grant application for the acquisition of 21.12 acres of undeveloped land for open space preservation. Whereas the Oberer Development Company is the owner of a 21.12 acre tract of forested land located in the city of Forest Park at the junction of Hamilton Avenue, US 127, and Interstate 275, and whereas grant funding is available from the Clean Ohio Fund to assist local communities and nonprofit organizations with property acquisition for green space conservation, and whereas the Oberer Tract is the fourth largest privately owned contiguous undeveloped property in the city, and whereas the Oberer Development Company has agreed to sell the property to the city at a price below its appraised value, and whereas covenants placing permanent restrictions on the land would be executed and recorded with the property deed to conserve the property as open space and to prohibit development except for limited improvements such as parking, signage, or trails to make it accessible to the public. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, Section 1, that the Council of the City of Forest Park endorses and supports the application for Clean Ohio Conservation Funds to acquire 21.12 acres of undeveloped forest land as fully described in Exhibit A attached hereto and made a part of this resolution. Section 2, that the city manager is hereby authorized and directed to submit on behalf of the City of Forest Park an application to the Natural Resources Assistance Council, NRAC, District 2, and the Ohio Public Works Commission for open space acquisition, and if awarded, to implement said project. Section 3, this resolution shall be in full force and take effect upon its passage.
Motion, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move for the passage of resolution number 08-2019.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 08-2019. So discussion,
Yes, thank you. Just for clarity's sake, this property that we're talking about sits behind the Civic Center Plaza. And I think as many council members know, we've had discussions about this property over the years as a property that would be very difficult to develop. This grant will allow, as stated in the resolution, allow the city to purchase that property well below the advertised price, and also allow the Oberer company to effectively write off the remaining dollars as a donation to the city. So it is a win-win. What this also does is protect that property from any opportunistic development, let's say, and also provide more green space to Forest Park, open up opportunities for us to continue our green projects as we've done in other tracts of land along, for example, the Sharon Road. So this is a good thing for Forest Park. It protects that property, and it keeps Forest Park in a much better position to control that property in the manner that we would like. And with that, I would urge adoption of resolution number 08-2019.
any further discussion?
Did
Question?
you say the land is not, you can't develop the land? Isn't that what you said?
It's very difficult to develop that land because of the terrain and how close it is to the highway.
I know, but yet it states that the land can be used for, you wouldn't use it for anything besides parking or signage or trails or something like that.
Right, because it doesn't require all of the space that you would a building. So you could provide parking, extend the parking for that, the Civic Center Plaza, or provide walking area, for example, trails that might lead back to Inspirational Baptist Church in that area. So there's opportunity there. It's not something that's set in stone, it was just set for example.
Anybody else on this? Hearing none, the clerk please call the roll on Resolution 08-2019.
Moore,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Herbie,
Yes.
Holt,
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yes. Resolution 08-2019 passes 7-0. Is there any other business to come before the body? I thought we did those. Is there any other business to come before the body? Hearing none, we're adjourned.